Welcome to the Excellerate Black Futures YouTube channel. We're very excited to share the recording with you of our last event with Glory Edozien, who talked to us all about LinkedIn visibility. To start, let's introduce you to Glory. Glory is a LinkedIn visibility coach and a lead consultant at the Inspired by Glory Academy, where she teaches mid-senior level career women on how to build visibility and establish thought leadership on LinkedIn so that they can get the recognition they deserve, earn more money, and climb the career ladder. She's also the founder of the first of its kind digital enabled academy for career women, the 9 to 5 Chick Inner Circle, which aims to provide career women throughout Africa with mentors, access to signature resources, and also networking opportunities. We are so excited to have Glory with us, who's a huge expert on LinkedIn visibility. And we really hope you enjoy the insights that she's about to share about how you can also thrive on LinkedIn and get the career and prospects that you are looking for and deserve. Enjoy the session.
So why is LinkedIn so powerful? Well, LinkedIn has well over 700 million users across 200 countries and regions worldwide. And a large proportion of LinkedIn users are decision makers. In fact, the stats actually say that 4 out of 5 LinkedIn users actually drive business decisions, and that there are 17 million opinion leaders, as well as 10 million C-level executives on LinkedIn. So what that means is that if you're using LinkedIn correctly, you have a really, really high chance of being spotted by people who are making key business decisions, ergo people who can help you achieve your career goals. And 3 people are hired through LinkedIn every minute, and 90% of recruiters say that they use LinkedIn for their hiring decisions. So this is exactly what LinkedIn can do for you. It can position you as an expert in your field because it changes the conversation from you being, always applying for opportunities to being in a position where you're being sought after. It brings you speaking opportunities, features. It makes you top of mind to the drivers of different business decisions across the world. And it connects you to those decision makers. But most importantly, it helps you to build a global brand, which attracts international collaborations, podcasts, and international job opportunities. So given that, what is LinkedIn visibility? So I always try and explain to people that when you're trying to be visible, this is not a fame exercise, right? It is the art of letting people know what you are capable of and your impact as a professional, right? So it's about capability, showcasing capability and impact. And we'll break down the difference between those two things, because a lot of times people are showing that they are capable, they're talking about their job responsibilities, but they're not showing how these job responsibilities translate into actual impact for the business, right? Now, what is really special about LinkedIn is that it also gives you the space to communicate your expertise, because it's more than just putting on your CV. And I'll show you that in a bit. It allows you to connect to the right people, and it opens doors of opportunities for you. But why should you care? Because you might be saying, you know what, I'm actually okay where I am. LinkedIn seems like a bit of a bother at the moment. Why should I care? The truth about it is the world as we know it has changed, right? We are now living in a virtual world, and visibility is becoming more and more important to how companies make their hiring decisions, right? So to be successful in the future, you have to improve how you advertise yourself, right? It's no longer about sending in CVs for job positions, but businesses now want to be able to hire experts who can solve problems, proven experts who can solve problems for businesses. So what are we going to cover today? So I'm going to be showing you 4 key things. How to create a LinkedIn profile that demonstrates your expertise. We'll also be looking at networking mistakes that you should definitely not be doing on LinkedIn. And then we're going to go into content. And under content, I'm going to try and show you 2 key things: mistakes and content examples you can start to use immediately, right? So after this session, you can go ahead and start sharing content on LinkedIn. Buki, I'm just going to check in really quickly to make sure you can still hear me.
Yep, he can still hear you. Thanks.
Fantastic. So how do you create a LinkedIn profile that demonstrates your expertise? How do you move from point A? So let's say, you're joining this and you're thinking, look, Glory, you're saying all these amazing things about LinkedIn, but I don't even know where to start. And how do you move from that point to point B, right, where you are now being the sought after expert? How do you fill in the blanks in between? And really the answer for that today. So if you forget anything I say today, guys, remember this. You need to turn your LinkedIn from a resume to a resource, right? Now, why is that important? Because you already have a CV. Your CV is already digital. So you don't need LinkedIn being another replica of your CV. What you need LinkedIn to be is a resource, something that opens doors, opportunities for you. While you're in this meeting, people should be sending you messages on LinkedIn. While you are in the store, while you are with family, you should be getting opportunities through your LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you how. So before I go, I've been talking for about a few minutes. I want to know, is anybody here proud of their LinkedIn profile? Just let me know in the chat really quickly. When was the last time you updated your profile? So just let me chat. I'm just going to stop here and look at the chat to see. So just let me know. Are you proud of your LinkedIn profile? When was the last? Super proud of mine. Great, Tommy. Fantastic. Anybody else? When was the last time you updated your profile and are you proud of it? Okay, last week. About a month ago, so not bad. Not bad, Kelly. Okay, Maria says last week. Anyone else? Okay, mine could be better. Proud-ish. Okay, fantastic. Relatively proud a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic. Okay. So which house would you rather spend a weekend in? House A or house B? Now, for those that said they're proud of their LinkedIn profile, we're gonna put your LinkedIn profile through a test really soon. But right, so just tell me, which house would you like to spend a weekend in? I know this is a no-brainer, guys, but just indulge me. House A or house B? House A, of course, right? Of course. Okay. So just like you made that decision, it takes 7 seconds or less to impress a decision maker online. So literally, your LinkedIn profile could either be a house A or a house B. So let's see what makes a LinkedIn profile a house A. The first thing is complete your LinkedIn profile. Now, LinkedIn users with complete profiles are 40 times more likely to receive opportunities through LinkedIn, right? So if you go on your LinkedIn profile today and you see a dashboard and it has this all-star mark, fairly basic, it means that your LinkedIn profile is complete. If you see a dashboard, like a barometer, which tells you, oh, to click next to fill out a section, it means that your profile isn't complete and you need to fill out all those sections before you can have the all-star status. But be careful, right? So LinkedIn is garbage in, garbage out. It's not just about having a complete LinkedIn profile. What you put on your profile is just as important. So let's see. A lot of times people are using buzzwords. So things like passionate, I'm a passionate, enthusiastic, strategic, consummate, amiable, hardworking, and HR enthusiast. Nobody is searching for these words on LinkedIn, right? So so just how Instagram works with pictures, LinkedIn works with skills, right? So a recruiter is searching for someone who, to work as part of a comms team, and they're looking for somebody who has digital strategy experience, who has worked on different digital campaigns, influencer marketing. Those are the types of skills that should be on your LinkedIn. So stop wasting the space on your LinkedIn with buzzwords, right? And instead focus on what are the hot skills in your sector that you have, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is not future-proofing your profile. Now, this is an easy one to miss. A lot of people are just using their job titles on LinkedIn. Head of marketing for XYZ, head of corporate communications analyst, The truth about this is that is not helping your profile. You need to sit back and think and say, what do I want to do next? You don't create a LinkedIn profile for the job you have, but for the opportunities you want. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? Because you currently have your job. So you should be thinking, what is my next level goal? What are the things I want to achieve? And how do I create a profile that showcases I have the skills to achieve that next level goal? Because whoever is looking at your profile now is not trying to recruit you for the job you have now, right? Hopefully you want them to be recruiting you for a future opportunity. So I'll show you how this works. Before, my LinkedIn headline used to read, founder inspired by Glory Academy. Now that's true, right? I am the founder of Inspired by Glory Academy. But when I changed it to LinkedIn Visibility Career Coach, my goal is to help 500 African women build thought leadership on LinkedIn. The game completely changed, right? Because what we had here were keywords: LinkedIn, visibility, career coach, thought leadership. When people go on LinkedIn and they're looking for someone like me, these are the terms they are searching for. But when I was using just my title, my job title, founder, I wasn't getting found. So you need to sit down and think, for the next opportunity I'm going for, what do those people need to see to showcase that, I have the skills and the competencies to succeed in that role, right? Now, showcase depth of expertise. So let's look at this. And guys, I want you to just answer really quickly in the chat. If you're going to invite one of these two people for an interview, who would it be? VP Product Development and Marketing at Bolt, or VP Product Development Bolt, Growth Specialist. I help African startups get their first 100,000 customers. So let's go to the chat again really quickly. Who would you invite? The second. Of course, right? Because this person has sat down to think, what is the key problem I solve for organizations, right? And let that lead how they communicate their brand, right? So the person has sat down, it's not just being a VP Product Development and Marketing, right? What I really do is I help you get your first 100,000 customers. Trust me, any business, any tech startup that is launching right now and is thinking, okay, the entrepreneur is thinking, the founders are thinking, oh my goodness, how are we going to get our first 100,000 customers? How are we going to get our first 50,000 downloads? This is the person that they will be looking for. Okay. Then also think, what makes me stand out as a professional? As a professional, you have your unique source, you have your unique selling point, right? So before, instead of head of sales, West Africa, JJC PLC, right? Award-winning sales leader. And now this is an actual LinkedIn makeover that I did for a client. So this was her headline before was head of sales for this company. And then when we started doing the work, we found out that actually she's an award-winning sales leader. She has Pan-African experience, and she is known for delivering sales targets and ensuring customer retention programs. So we changed her LinkedIn profile to that, right? And instantly the doors just started to open. So you need to think, where do you receive the most compliments about your work? What is your core expertise? And then the next thing, and I see this all the time, especially women, we need to move from just talking about our responsibilities to quantifying accomplishments, right? So a lot of people will say, oh, I was responsible for building vital client relationships. We added to bottom line. So you take the words in your job description and put it in your LinkedIn profile. That is not going to fly. Instead, quantify. How did you build relationships? What were your results, right? So tell me instead that you developed strong relationships with major accounts, which produced what percentage of the revenue between what period, right? So these vital relationships, how did it add to the bottom line? Quantify your accomplishments, right? And then make sure you're using power verbs, right? So achieved, drive, customized, overhauled, redesigned, mentored, action verbs. And then finally, what's different about you, right? You may have achieved many accomplishments, but what's different about the way you get things done? I remember once I was coaching this executive. He has over 20 years of experience, and he knows a lot of things about finance. But then when we started talking, we realized that what is great about the way he does is mentorship, right? So he's able to mentor diverse teams, diverse multifunctional teams to bring out star results. And that's what's different about him, right? So think about your unique style of execution. So if I was going to recap on that section, make sure your profile is complete. So that's fairly straightforward. Make sure you're using the skills that are hot skills in your sector that you have. Please don't lie. Future-proof your profile, right? By thinking about what are my next level goals and how do I showcase that I have the potential to achieve those right now. Showcase the depth of your expertise. What problems do you solve? Think about what makes you stand out. Quantify your accomplishments, and then finally document your unique style of execution. So I want to ask, for those who said they recently updated their profile and that, they're proud of their profile, has this been helpful? Just really tell me in the comment section, are these things that you were doing when you were updating your profile, or would you see a few gaps? So just tell me in the comment section. I just want to take a few comments. Definitely, I see so many gaps. Very helpful. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on now really quickly to networking mistakes and how to solve them. So the first thing on LinkedIn, right, you have over, like I said, over 700 million users, right? So LinkedIn is not just about having your profile complete. It is a perfect place to build professional networks, global professional networks. But how do you do that? So I find that by correcting these mistakes, you can become more proficient in how you network on LinkedIn. The first is make sure that you have clarity on your professional brand and visibility goals. So you need to sit down and think, what am I trying to achieve in my career next, right? And who will help me achieve those goals? So for example, if you say, okay, I'm trying to become the head of marketing at a pharmaceutical company, for example, who can help me achieve those goals? Maybe current heads of marketing, heads of marketing in different companies, maybe CEOs of pharmaceutical companies. You need to think about it, or HR managers in different pharmaceutical companies. You need to have clarity on your professional brand and your career goals, right? And then now you start to say, once you are clear on that, you now have a networking strategy because you now know who you need to be visible to, right? And so it's not just about accepting everyone on LinkedIn. What I always tell people on LinkedIn, it's about the quality of your network, not the quantity, because LinkedIn is like an onion, right? The more you get to the right people, the more right people find you, right? So it's very, very important that you have a networking strategy that is helping you become visible to the people who can help you achieve the goals that you would like to achieve. Now, not actively growing your network, right? So if you have a small network, less than 500, I don't know, for some reason, for LinkedIn, 500 seems to be the magic number. Don't ask me why. But if you have a small network and you now want to start sharing articles, you may have limited reach. And what's even worse is that so let's say, for example, using the marketing example for someone who wants to go into pharmaceuticals, right? The pharmaceutical industry. And you're writing about how to market pharmaceutical products, but you have grown your network with people who are in a completely different sector, right? When you're writing these articles, those people are not going to be interested in what you're writing, right? So you make sure that you are actively growing your network with the right people, right? And that you are doing all you can to remain top of mind to them, i.e. by writing content. Content goes a long way to help. Because imagine if you have 500 connections, even if you sent them a message, one person a message every day, you would still need at least almost 2 years, right? To send everyone a message, right? So the best way to become top of mind is to share content. I'll be talking about that soon. Now, finally, when it comes to mistakes you shouldn't be making on LinkedIn, please don't restrict your network to just your country. There are over 700 million people. So the last thing you want to do is just build a network that is only relevant in the UK, right? Or whatever country you may be joining in from today. Make sure that you're utilizing the global reach of LinkedIn to attract a network across the world. So what should you do instead? Let your network reflect your brand and visibility aspirations. And I'm going to give you an example. So for me, I'm on LinkedIn to find my goals are around creating revenue for my company, and I do that by finding one-on-one clients, consulting, speaking, and training opportunities. So I've sat down to think, who are the people that can give me those opportunities? So HR leaders, mid to senior level executives, decision makers, corporate leaders, local and international experts in my field, and I am intentional about attracting and communicating with these people as part of my network. Okay, and it was through that I got the opportunity to be featured by this magazine that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so after today's class, what I want you to do is take a look at your LinkedIn network, right? the people in your network, do they reflect your brand and visibility and career aspirations? Can they really help you achieve your career goals? And how aware are they that you are even part of their network, right? And the value that you bring. So those are some reflective questions I'd like for you to ask yourself tonight. Okay, so we're moving to content. I just want to check in really quickly. I know Buki, I'm sure we'll get a chance for people to ask questions at the end. But I just want to check. Okay, you can still hear me. Everybody's still there. Good.
Yeah, we're still going good.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. So 7 content mistakes and how to solve them. And then 3 content examples you can start using immediately. So content mistakes, not publishing content at all. So I want to ask, in fact, since the start of this year, how many times have you published content on LinkedIn? So just tell me really quickly in the chats. How many times have you published content on LinkedIn? 3 to 4 times. Okay, really good. Sporadically. 5 times probably. Okay. 2 times a week at least. Amazing. 3. Okay. Fantastic. So anybody that hasn't published at all? Is there anyone that hasn't put anything up at all? Don't worry, it's a safe place. Okay, yes, okay, good. Okay, so not publishing content at all. So like we said, if you're not publishing content, it's going to be very difficult for you to remain top of mind or to even become top of mind to the decision makers that are on LinkedIn. So that's the first content mistake. The second mistake, and I see this a lot now on LinkedIn, sticking to motivational and inspirational content. Look, it's great to talk about your career lessons. It's great to, share, to be motivational and to inspire people. It's amazing. However, unless your goal is to become a motivational speaker, if you're really trying to unlock career opportunities, you need to show competency. You need to show expertise. And that would require that you move beyond motivational and inspirational content, right? So, and then content that doesn't reflect your brand or core competency, right? So I see a lot of people that are in consulting, sharing content about politics. Now, there's nothing wrong in sharing content about things that interest you, but however, just remember that you will become known for the things you share. So if you're trying to build, a reputation or thought leadership around being a marketer, you're sharing content around something else, just know that, there's a mismatch between what you're trying to project and your visibility goals, right? Or content that is relevant to those you want to attract. So if you're trying to attract CEOs, for example, right, you can't be posting or sharing analyst information, right? Something that a CEO is not really interested in. You really need to sit down and think, what are for the people I'm trying to attract, what are their needs? And create content that solves those needs, right? And then there are a lot of topical articles, topical things that are happening in your industry. Now, the mistake a lot of people make is that sometimes when you share topical content or expert-driven content around your sector, you may not get the 100 likes. You may not get the 50 likes. You may get like 10, 15, 20. And so you become heartened and things like that. But I'm telling you, sharing those aren't that much. What you should really be looking at is the people who are liking your articles. Because if those are the right people you want to attract, it doesn't matter how many likes you have. It is not a popularity contest, right? You want to make sure. So I have a client who, she was just sharing her articles. It wasn't getting that many likes and everything, but her inbox was filled with opportunities to get featured in the press. She even got invited to apply for a Silicon Valley scholarship to enter, I think it was an incubator, and she actually got in. She was one of the 5 people they selected from Africa or something like that. Another client of mine, she got invited to join, I think, an international show. So many results like that. And it's not like they had thousands of likes, right? So you want to look at the quality of your interaction as opposed to the quantity, right? Now, make sure you're tracking the insights behind your content. So where it says how many views, if you click on that, it would tell you where people are viewing your article from, their job titles and things like that. And that's really helpful. So for example, if you start noticing that a lot of people that are viewing your article are in sales, but really you're trying to go into a different sector, you know that, okay, there's something wrong, there's a mismatch here. Or you're trying to attract executives, but you find out that a lot of people that are reading your articles are students, then you know that, okay, I either need to change my network or this content isn't really working, right? Not using video and hashtags. Video is, visual content is the name of the game, right? So make sure you're using video and hashtags. Find out the people who are sharing articles in your sector, what type of hashtags are they using? Now, why are these really mistakes? 45% of those who read LinkedIn content are decision makers. Can you imagine that? 45%, right? And this is stats from LinkedIn, right? And then this was released by LinkedIn as well. In November 2020, these are the top 10 topics discussed on LinkedIn: tech, politics, business and management, finance and economy, health, science and environment, medicine, society and culture, medical sciences, careers, and employment. So can you see that there is space for you to talk about sector-specific information and content, right? Not just inspirational content. Okay, let's see. Okay, videos are also the most reshared form of content on LinkedIn. So if you want your content to go viral, to be shared, to, make sure that you are utilizing video as well. So what kind of content should you create? I know I had said I'll give 3 ideas, but here are 4. So content that represents your brand. So think about, okay, what do I want to be known for in my industry? So, and create content around that. That demonstrates your competency, expertise, and knowledge. So I like to use this example. So, and there was this guy who I was doing an audit for his LinkedIn profile, and he, I was reading his content. And he was talking about entrepreneurship, and it just felt forced. So as part of the coaching, I was just asking him different questions. Turns out he's in Canada, and he got there on a full scholarship, and now he's writing a book on how you can get scholarships abroad. And so I said to him, oh, why don't you create content around that? And he's like, oh, he just doesn't want people to think he's a bookworm. I'm thinking, but you're not an entrepreneur, right? You are sharing content around entrepreneurship, but it isn't translating because you're not an entrepreneur. It's not your expertise. It's not your area of competence. Why don't you share content about the things that you already know? And stop thinking that, oh, everybody already knows this. No, if they knew it, they would be doing it, right? So share content around the things that you already know. Make sure it's relevant and topical. That's fairly straightforward. And always think about, is this content going to be helpful? What will the takeaway be? Am I just regurgitating information or actually starting a conversation? Okay, so here are 4 content ideas you can use this week. So lessons you've learned in your industry, right? So maybe talk about what are the key things that have happened this year. So what are 3 things you've already learned in 2021? Your ideas of resolving top industry issues, right? And then what questions do colleagues keep asking you, right? You could do a series where you're answering different questions that you seem to keep getting asked by colleagues. And then is there a project that's happening in your industry now that you could feature and talk about? These are some ideas. So let's recap. If you forget anything I said today, remember this. Turn your LinkedIn profile from a resume into a resource by creating a profile that can impress, making sure it's a house A. Remember, you have 7 seconds or less to impress a potential decision maker online. Network according to your brand, career, and visibility goals, and create content that demonstrates your expertise. Right, now I know you may still have questions. We've come to the end, and I'm going to be taking questions, but I just want to share it with you really, really quickly, how you can work with me. So a lot of people always, after this, every time I do these presentations, people always ask me questions around, okay, I need to clarify my brand. I'm not sure about what my brand is and how do I express my brand so that it attracts opportunities. I need help with my networking strategy. Or Glory, I want to create content that demonstrates my expertise, right? And so they have questions around that. And so what I do is you can work with me in 2 ways. I have a LinkedIn group strategy program LinkedIn Visibility and Content Strategy Program, which is a group course. I also have a one-on-one coaching package as well. If you are interested in any of these packages, you can send me an email at glory@inspiredbyglory.com. So that is, I'll put it in the chat, glory@inspiredbyglory.com. Or my PA, Pelumi, is here. Pelumi, if you could just put your name in the chat, just tell everyone hi, so that if you want to reach out, you can reach out to Pelumi directly and she can give you my details. Okay, so that is me done. Thank you so much, Buki, and thank you guys for being patient with the internet issues we're having earlier. Let me try and put on my video.
Thank you so much, Glory. That was amazing. Like, I've heard you talk about these things before, but I still take notes every single time. So there's always room for improvement. We've got some questions in the chat already. One of the questions that we had was around when you talked about future proofing and looking ahead when you're looking at your LinkedIn profile. And the question was around, if you're thinking of changing careers, how do you future proof? Obviously you're in a role now, but you're looking to do something completely different. So how do you future proof your LinkedIn profile?
Okay, so I think the first thing is to think about the transferable skills that are relevant for the role that you have now and the role that you're trying to get in the future, right? So, and I would also, what I advise people that want to do that is to try and find some people on LinkedIn who have made that transition already, right? And see how are they, how are they talking about their career story in an engaging way that showcases what they've done and what they're doing now. I think those are some of the ways that you can get some ideas on how to express yourself on LinkedIn.
Bro, thanks, Glo. Another question was around content. And I'm actually, I'm really interested in the answer myself. So I guess the question is, when you talk about content, there's so many ways that you can share content on LinkedIn. You talk about videos and things. So, is there best practice? Is it better to do short posts, or do you need to write an article? Like, how does that work?
So really, it really depends on your style and what you want to communicate, right? So if you're starting out, I advise people to do short posts, because posts are, short, sweet, to the point, right? And they tend to get more engagement, right? You can write a really long article and you get quite not as much engagement as you may like, and that could put you off. So what I always advise people to do is straddle, different content types. So there's also some variety. So start off with posts. Then you can say, okay, at least once, depending on what your content strategy is, you can say, okay, once a quarter, I'm going to do a really in-depth article that I'm going to take my time and, do some research and deliver that, right? So maybe once a quarter, once a month, whatever works best for you. Then you can say, okay, once a month, I'm also going to do a video. I'm going to do stories as well on LinkedIn. So it really depends on you, how engaging you want to be on LinkedIn, how often you want to spend on LinkedIn. But what I advise people to do is have different variety of content, right? Because people are engaging with LinkedIn in different ways, and because there are different content types, so it's good to have different variety of content types as well as part of your strategy.
Bro, and is there best practice? Like, would you, if you were talking to someone who was pretty, I won't say savvy, but so if I use myself an example, pretty decent, I update and I post, but it's very sporadic. There isn't really a strategy behind it. And I'm time poor. So is there a, you should post maybe once a month, or you should put a story? Is there like a generic best practice that we should be aiming for? I work better with targets. So if I know what the minimum is, then that works better for me.
So I don't know whether I would call it best practice, but I would say what I found is the sweet spot for people is, at least if you can manage it twice a month at the very least, right? Because the thing here is that LinkedIn posts have a longer lifespan. So LinkedIn content than on Instagram. So you can post something today, and 3 weeks from now, you're still getting, some good type of viewership and likes and engagement on it, right? So it has so I would say at least try to get 2 posts a month at the very least.
Right. And when it comes to video, because you talked about video being a good way, is there, there's video live, LinkedIn live, or you can do a recording and share. Is there best practice on that? Or again, is that down to what works best for everyone?
Okay, so I think again, it's what works best for you. I think it's really, first of all, making sure at least the quality of the video is. I think you should be more concerned about the quality of the video. It's something that people can engage with. It's clear, it's professional, and the like. So get that sorted. If you can, another thing that I find helpful is get there are these transcriber apps that allow the text of what you're saying to scroll at the bottom. I find that's really helpful. A lot of people are engaging with LinkedIn with the what's it called, their laptop volumes down, so people don't have to increase the volume or whatever to hear you. They can just be watching you and seeing the text. I find that's really helpful to get engagement as well.
Right. And I guess one of the questions that goes around in my head sometimes, which doesn't make me be as enthusiastic about LinkedIn as I would love to be, is some of the, it's one thing to hear crickets when you post, and I'm actually happy with that, but sometimes you get quite negative reactions to content. How do you deal with that? How do you manage that?
So it really depends on what the negative content comment is, right? So if it is, so what I always tell people is make sure that, whatever you are saying on LinkedIn is something that you would be able to say to a colleague, like in a meeting or something like that, right? So make sure that you're watching what you're actually saying on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So if somebody is saying something that is completely unprofessional, I don't think you should worry too much about that person, because I think it's more a reflection on their own professional issues. So you shouldn't really worry too much about that. However, if somebody is saying they disagree with you and things like that, I don't think that there's any problem in not taking the person on, but actually having a conversation around it. I've seen people who they've written a post and somebody has disagreed with them, and they're like, oh, that's a really interesting perspective. However, based on XYZ, this is my perspective, but it's great to have your perspective here as well. So just remember that what you are on LinkedIn is an origin. You're sparking conversation, right? And just like how you would have conversation over coffee or whatever, you're going to have people that disagree with you, but it's not the end of the world. You can welcome other people's opinions and not take it personally.
Brilliant. Great. I think those are all the questions. Just a last sound the alarm for everyone else. If you've got any burning questions for Glory, to put that in the chat now. We've got, I'd say, about 5 minutes before Glory jumps off. So just to sound the alarm to everyone if you've got any further questions. Yeah, so what we normally do after is, with the whole thank you for joining and sending the survey, we'll make sure we include some contact details for Glory as well, because I'm top of mind in terms of making sure I have those conversations as well. But I think it's great what she's offering. So if you do want to take advantage of that, then please make sure you reach out to her directly. I know sometimes when and I work in HR, when I hear the word coach, I kind of think sometimes it feels a little bit too fluffy, but I think this is quite centered on visibility. So there's an actual purpose. So it resonates a lot more with me. So if anyone wants to reach out to Glory on that, please feel free to do so. Okay. Any parting words for us, Glory?
Okay, I see 2 questions in the chat. Is it okay to take them?
Yeah, sure. Am I missing? Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
If you have a side hustle, how do you ensure you position yourself for future day jobs and side hustles at the same time? So the first thing is, you want to make sure, because what I'm hearing a lot now is that on LinkedIn, there are a lot of spies from organizations, checking people out and seeing, how they're presenting themselves on LinkedIn. So you want to be very careful and make sure, first of all, your side hustle, that there are no, there's no conflict of interest, first of all, and that it's not something your organization frowns on. So you want to make sure that, you're not putting yourself in a position where you could get yourself into a lot of trouble. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if the side hustle is something that you're passionate about, you can showcase it as something you're passionate about. So for example, Buki is a HR expert and she runs, Accelerating Black Careers. You can say, oh, you're really passionate about XYZ, or this is a project that is very close to your heart, and blah, 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 blah. So you can share it as a passion project. Now, when it's for profit, so let's say, for example, you are you work in a company and you're selling bags or you're selling shoes, it becomes a bit more dicey to do things like that. So maybe you want to use pictures instead. Maybe you want to do like style posts and things like that. And then you just tell people, oh, if you want to contact me to talk more about your style and fashion, send me a private DM. And that way you can get emails of people that you can then talk to off LinkedIn, and just use LinkedIn as a funnel to attract the people and then talk to them outside of LinkedIn. So there are different ways that you can, go around it. Then the next, somebody says, my question is around the summary section, length and keywords. So by the summary section, you're talking about the bio section, or are you talking about the LinkedIn headline? If you're talking about the LinkedIn, the bio section, I think you're allowed 2,600 characters. Okay, yeah, 2,600 characters. So that's not a lot. So you kind of have to make sure you're working with it and make sure you're including, for SEO purposes, that you're including your skills, the skills you want to be known for, at least 3 times. Now, the key way to do that is make sure it's included in your skills section at the bottom, and then try and put it in maybe like the introductory part, and then put like a sub paragraph on, so that way, so you can say digital marketing experts, right? And then when you're not talking about skills and competencies, you can now put digital marketer. And then in your skills section, also make sure you're highlighting digital marketing as well. So that way you're getting all the skills you want to be known for to come up on LinkedIn.
Grill. Thank you, Glory. I think the only thing I would add, certainly around the whole side hustles piece, I've actually just seen the benefits of this in my day job. So I've just recently moved jobs, and the amount of people I have had to introduce myself to, and they've said things like, "Oh, I've seen you on LinkedIn," or I noticed that you're doing X, Y, Z. So it is quite powerful, and passion projects are great when we talk about bringing. I mean, last month's session was about entrepreneurship, and a lot of those things is creating a brand for yourself, both in and outside of your organizations. And there's some great groups on LinkedIn as well. I've only just cottoned onto that, so I'm really interested in real estate, and I found out that there were a few groups on there where they share deals and things, and I'm like, where have you been all my life? So it's getting to be quite the tool for not just corporate, but also for entrepreneurs, and develop anything you can think of. It's a real great marketplace. So Glory, you've hit a sweet spot when it comes to a niche that people need to get on the bandwagon really quickly. So thank you so much, Glory. It's been amazing. I hope people have taken away. I have scribbled enough notes to last me for another few weeks. So if you see me posting lots of LinkedIn, know that it's because I'm listening to Glory. Just a couple of things that I want to share with everyone. I'm just going to share my slides again. And again, huge thank you to Glory. As we've said in the chat, if you need to speak to her, contact her, ask any further questions, please feel free to do so. Like I said, we do this once a month. So this is our educational series. Next month, we'll kick off with our inspirational series. So we've got a few people joining us who are going to be talking to us about their side hustle. So really, really looking forward to that as well. Just talking about how they're managing, having a 9 to 5, as well as, dealing with their side hustles on the side. So please make sure you stay tuned for that. I also wanted to highlight that we have a few volunteer roles on our team. So we're looking for someone to really help us with our social media, to help us with our event logistics. There's lots of things bubbling in the background for Excellerate. So we're hoping for some people to join the team. And speaking of the team, it's a great time for me to just say a huge thank you to the team. Just in case you don't know, the whole of Excellerate Black Futures, the team is just a bunch of people who are passionate about this stuff and do this on the side of their desk. So between the 6 of us, we've got full-time jobs, we've got passion projects, we've got dealing with the pandemic and children, and Excellerate, which we talk about as our own baby. So if you like what you see, please, reach out to us and let us know how you can help or how you can get involved. But a huge thank you to the team. Again, we've rolled out something really great, and this will be available on YouTube. We'll send the link out. We'll send a survey as well. We really want to hear what you guys want to cover and what you think will be beneficial. So please make sure you fill out the survey. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time today. And a huge thank you to Glory as well. And have an amazing day or the rest of the week as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Glory. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.